Hello everybody, welcome back to another preview from me, James Alcott, your fan pundit for Fan League. Last week was crazy and I predicted as much and I thought I did okay considering it was an FA Cup weekend, especially the third round. There's always going to be shocks and to be honest, I called quite a few of them. I was pretty pleased with myself. Not as many as Sven though, which was, this guy, he knows his stuff. 9 out of 13 from him, not enough to make some money. 8 out of 13 for me, which is respectable, which is my average on Fan League this year. And Ian McIntosh with 5 out of 13. He's gone with his head over his heart. Big mistake in the FA Cup weekend. But let's move forward. We're back to the Premier League. I think this is going to be a bit more easy to call this week. And I think there's money to be made. So these are my bankers, my upsets and my half hedges for game week 22. Let's get straight into it. My first banker in most weekends would be an understandable one. I think on this occasion, some people might disagree with me with the amount of games that Chelsea have had to play. But I still think Chelsea at home, alongside Man City, is probably the most confident pick I can ever make for them to win most games at home. They've got Leicester City, who struggled against the top sides. I think their counter-attacking style doesn't really undo many of those top sides. And I think Chelsea will have a lot more of the ball. I think the tempo will be quite slow, apart from those moments when they look to counter-attack Leicester City. And I think they'll be able to deal with it. So I'm going for a Chelsea home win for my first banker. My second banker this week is in the game between Barnsley and Wolverhampton Wanderers, and I can imagine that you can guess who I'm going for. My banker is for Wolves to win this game. They are undefeated in 12 in the league. They're the best team in the Championship by far. Great quality available off the bench as well as the starting 11. And Barnsley, they're down the bottom. They've had a couple of decent results recently, but at home they've been very poor. They've conceded in 77% of their games, and they haven't scored themselves in nearly half of their home games this year, and also they haven't won in 5 home games. So it all points to just one thing, which is a Wolves win. So it's an absolute banker for me. And my final banker this week, it's a mix of stats and just general understanding of the Premier League, and certainly Arsenal. My third banker is for Arsenal to win away at Bournemouth. One of the reasons is Bournemouth at home have conceded a hell of a lot of goals. I think they're a squad there's a different set of expectations for them now after 2 seasons in the Premier League, and they're expected to go and take teams on and win games, and I think that's been their downfall. 77% of games there's been at least 1 goal scored against them at home, so they're not shutting out teams at home. They've scored 2 goals in their last 3 matches, 2 goals or more in their last 3 matches, which shows they've got some firepower there. But going back to my gut and my understanding of the Premier League, when Arsenal, and Arsene Wenger in particular, when his side seemed to be going through a difficult patch, inevitably they play a mid-table team and they get the result that they want. I can see them scoring an early goal that will calm down the nerves, and I can see this being a 3-0 victory for Arsenal. So that's my third banker this week. Moving on to my upsets for game week 22, and I kick off with the game between West Brom and Brighton. West Brom have not won a game in 2020. An incredible record for a team that's been steady in the Premier League for years now. Despite the sort of changes in manager, they've always found a way, but I wonder if this squad's got enough to stay up this season. If they are going to stay up, they need to beat teams like Brighton at home. Brighton will be coming with a different style to most teams that come to the Hawthorns. Most teams will probably go for that victory, but Brighton will be more than happy with a draw, in my opinion. And I think that might play into West Brom's hands. They're desperate for the win. Pardew's desperate for the win, and I think they might get it this weekend. My second upset is the game at Wembley, Spurs versus Everton. Everton are a hard, tough nut to crack under Sam Allardyce. That was the first thing he instilled in the team, and you saw it in that league game against Liverpool away. They didn't come to play football because they knew they would get undone, because they didn't have the sort of explosive pace throughout the team to be able to deal with maybe a high line or space in behind. So he has changed the way that they play. They defend deep and they counter-attack using the space in that way. And for that reason, that's why I think that they might just sneak a draw in this game. Spurs undefeated at home in 10, and I think that will continue, but I think there's a draw here for Everton if they can stay disciplined. I think they'll get a goal on the counter-attack with the pace of Calvert-Lewin or Niasse or Lookman, who's starting to get a few games as well. But I think a win is maybe a bit too much, because I think Spurs are going to dominate this game of football, but I think it'll still be a little bit of an upset if Everton can get a draw, and I think they will. And my final upset this week comes in the biggest game of the weekend, the last one on Sunday, Liverpool versus Man City. Man City they've come through every single test that's been thrown at them. There's been no one anywhere near their level to really cause them true problems. The game against Liverpool, they beat them 5-0, but Sadio Mane, as you will remember, got sent off pretty early on, and that kind of killed the game. Without Coutinho, they are a different proposition, but they are still a very exciting attacking side. And I think Man City's defence will be tested more so in this game than they probably have done throughout the entire season, both in the Premier League and in Europe. I like Liverpool. I think they're the second best team in the Premier League. I think if anyone's going to beat Man City and stop this 22-game unbeaten run, then it's them at home, and I'm hoping that they will. Liverpool are unbeaten in 12, so they're in a good run of form, won their last 3. So I think there could be an upset here, and I think they'll sneak the win. I'm going to go through my half hedges as well for you guys. Yeah, you're very, very lucky, aren't you? And a lot of the half hedges that I've had to do this week revolve around teams that are just very, very similar. In the Premier League, I think you've got Man City, then you've got the next set of teams that goes down to maybe to Spurs. Then you've got Everton, Leicester and Watford, and then you've got the rest. And there's a few games with the rest that I think it's too hard to call, so I've half-hedged them. Those games are Huddersfield versus West Ham. I've gone for a home win or a draw, which is my usual tactic when it comes to Fan League. I think home advantage does play a huge part. Newcastle versus Swansea, massive game for both teams, but I think Newcastle probably got just about enough quality and that home advantage. Again, Watford versus Southampton. I've gone for same thing, a draw or a home win in that one. West Brom versus Brighton, home win or a draw in that one. Again, into the Championship, I've gone for a half hedge when it comes to Hull versus Reading. In the Championship, it is so tough to see who's going to win games. And Reading have had a little bit of resurgence, and Hull are struggling, but they are in the same kind of level in the league. And Hull do have some quality players, so they could get themselves a win in that game. I've gone with the home advantage once again. Same in the Spurs versus Everton game. I think, as I said earlier, they'll keep that undefeated run, but I think Everton will probably get drawn out, which is why I've half-hedged it. And finally, Liverpool versus Man City. I'd be crazy if I didn't go for Man City in some way, shape or form. There is going to be goals. I can't see a draw happening. So I've half-hedged that one as well. So those are my picks for game week 22 of Fan League. I hope that you do well in your picks. If you want to copy mine, you can do though by looking down there and clicking that link and copying my picks. It's all there done for you. Fingers crossed I can be in the money this week, and so can you.